Daniel Cross stood on the edge of a crystal forest that glowed like nothing he had ever seen on Earth. The trees were not green or brown. They were purple and silver, and they made sounds like wind chimes when the breeze touched them. Above his head, the sky of Vareth Prime was orange with hints of red. 2 large moons hung in the daytime sky, watching the world below like ancient gods. He was the commander of the exploration team. He had 15 years of experience from other worlds. He had walked on ice planets and desert planets and worlds covered in endless water. But nothing had prepared him for Vareth Prime. Everything here was strange. Everything here was beautiful in a way that made him feel small. The diplomatic team walked behind him. Scientists and translators and politicians moved carefully through the crystal forest. They talked in soft voices, worried about disturbing the local people. The Vareth wanted peace with humanity. That was why Daniel and his team were here. The galaxy was large enough for both species to live and work together without war. Then the ground moved out. It was not an earthquake. The movement came from somewhere below the surface. Trees shook. Crystals fell like rain and shattered on the ground below. The sound was horrible. It was like breaking glass mixed with screaming. Daniel put his hand up to stop the team. Something was wrong. He could feel it in his bones. His training told him to move the group back to the ship. His instinct told him something worse was coming. The Shriviks burst through the forest like nothing Daniel had ever seen. They were long creatures. Their bodies were covered with scales that looked like armor. Their heads were large with teeth like daggers. Their eyes burned like fire. There were 6 of them, maybe 7. Daniel could not count because they moved so fast. One of the scientists screamed. Then all of them screamed. The creatures did not attack slowly. They did not hesitate. A Shrivik moved toward the group, its mouth open, ready to bite. Daniel's team opened fire. Weapons made loud sounds that echoed through the forest. The crystal trees caught the weapon fire and threw light in all directions. One of the creatures went down. Its body crashed into the ground and did not move again. But the others kept coming. One caught a translator by the arm. The man screamed as the creature pulled him. Daniel ran toward the creature without thinking. That was his first big mistake. The second mistake was not seeing the 4th Shrivik moving in from the side. But then the 4th Shrivik stopped. A woman's voice came from the trees. It was not a human voice. It was strange and beautiful and made the air vibrate. The Shrivik turned away from Daniel and looked toward the sound. For a moment, nothing happened. Then all the creatures started to move away from the team. They moved slowly at first, then faster. They ran back into the forest like the forest was calling them home. Daniel stood there with his weapon in his hands, breathing hard. His team looked at him. No one spoke. The silence was louder than all the weapon fire. Then she came through the trees. She was not human. Daniel knew that the moment he saw her. Her skin was not skin like humans had. It looked like it was made of light. The color was purple and silver and blue all mixed together. She was tall. She had 4 arms, not 2. Her face was angular and beautiful. Her eyes were large and dark and seemed to look into Daniel's mind. 2 more aliens came from the trees with her. They carried weapons that looked like energy instead of metal. They looked dangerous. They looked protective. The tall woman walked toward Daniel. She moved with purpose and grace. She did not look at the other team members. She looked only at Daniel. Daniel raised his weapon slowly. He was not sure what to do. The training said never trust what you do not understand. But something in her eyes told him she meant no harm. The woman put her hand to her chest. It was a slow movement. It was clear that she was making a choice to be peaceful. She did this even though she had 2 guards with energy weapons. A small device appeared in her hand. She pressed it, and a voice came out in clear English. The device was a translator. She had brought it, or they had given her one before coming into the forest. "You saved my life," she said. Her voice was calm and strong. "The Shriviks would have killed me. You ran toward the danger. You took the creature away from me. You put your life before mine." Daniel lowered his weapon. "You were in danger. I did what was right." The woman smiled. It was strange to see an alien smile, but it was clear to Daniel that it was a smile. It was clear to him that she was pleased. "I am Queen Aris Teleth," she said. "I rule the Verith people, and you have done something that has never been done before. You have saved the life of my species leader. You did this without knowing who I was. You did this as a stranger. You did this because it was right." Daniel stood straight. He was a soldier. He was a commander. But in that moment, he felt something change inside him. This was not just another mission. This was something bigger. "What is your name?" the Queen asked. "Daniel Cross," he said, "commander of the human exploration team on Verith Prime." The Queen stepped closer. Her guards did not follow her. She was alone with Daniel and his team. "Daniel Cross, I am in your debt. My people will remember this. I will remember this." She turned to her guards and spoke in her own language. They bowed. Then she turned back to Daniel. "The Shriviks will not return today," she said. "They fear my people. You are safe now, but I must return to the palace. My advisors will be worried, but I want you to know something. Your species, humanity, has shown me something today that I did not expect to find in this universe." "What is that?" Daniel asked. "Honor," the Queen said. "Real honor. Not the kind that comes from power or wealth or rules made by old kings. The kind that comes from inside. The kind that makes a person choose danger over safety, the life of a stranger over their own comfort." The Queen placed her hand on Daniel's shoulder. Her skin felt warm. She held it there for a long moment. "I will see you again, Daniel Cross," she said. "I am sure of it. Fate has a way of bringing people back together when it matters most." Then she turned and walked back into the crystal forest with her guards. Daniel watched her go. The forest seemed brighter when she left. The world seemed less magical. That night, Daniel lay in his quarters on the human station. He could not sleep. He kept thinking about the Queen's eyes. He kept thinking about what she said about honor. He kept thinking about the way she looked at him, like she saw something in him that he did not see in himself. He did not know that this moment would change everything. He did not know that saving her life would put him on a path he could not escape. He did not know that she would come to him in the darkness of night with a confession that would tear his world apart. All he knew was that something had happened in that crystal forest. Something that would matter. Something that would cost him everything and give him everything all at once. The diplomatic dinner was long and boring. Daniel sat at a table with people from Earth and people from Verith. They spoke about trade and laws and agreements. They spoke about making peace between two species that had never met before. No one looked happy. Everyone looked tired. Daniel wore a formal uniform. He did not want to be at the dinner. He wanted to be in his quarters alone. He wanted to think about the Queen. He wanted to understand what had happened in the crystal forest. The Queen sat at the far end of the table. She wore clothing made of a material that looked like liquid. It moved and changed color with every movement. She wore jewels that caught the light from the station lamps. Everyone at the table looked at her. She was beautiful in a way that made Daniel uncomfortable. He tried not to look at her. He tried to focus on his food. But his eyes kept moving back to her. She looked at him once. Just once. Her dark eyes met his across the table. Daniel felt something strange happen in his chest. His heart beat faster. His hands felt cold. He looked away quickly. That was the first real sign that his life was going to become very complicated. The dinner ended at 10 o'clock at night. The Verith delegation left the dining hall and went to their section of the station. The human team members went to their quarters or to the recreation areas. Daniel tried to go back to his room. He wanted to rest. Tomorrow would be another long day of diplomatic talks. But when he reached his quarters, the Queen was standing outside his door. She was alone. No guards, no assistants. Just her and Daniel in the empty corridor of the space station. "I cannot sleep," she said. Her translator made her words clear and simple. "I have tried. My mind will not stop. I keep thinking about today in the Crystal Forest. I keep thinking about you. This is not proper for a queen. This is not proper for anyone. But I need to speak with you. I need to understand what happened." Daniel looked down the corridor. No one was around. He was not sure what to do. He was not sure what the rules were for a human commander and an alien queen alone in a station. "Come inside," he said finally. The Queen moved into his quarters. Daniel closed the door. The room was small and simple. A bed, a desk, a window that looked out at Verith Prime below. The Queen looked around the room like she was seeing something amazing. Then she looked out at the planet. "It is beautiful," she said. "My world. I have lived here my whole life, but sometimes I forget to look at it." "I was just thinking about that," Daniel said. "How we stop seeing the beautiful things around us. How we get too busy to notice." The Queen turned to face him. "Tell me about your world. Tell me about Earth." Daniel sat down on the edge of his bed. The Queen did not sit. She moved to the window and looked out at the planet. "Earth has oceans," Daniel started. "Water that covers more than half the planet. The oceans have waves that crash on beaches made of sand. The sand is warm from the sun. The water is cold when you go deep. It is the most beautiful thing in the universe. Do you miss it?" The Queen asked. "Every day," Daniel said. "When I am out in space, I think about the beaches and the oceans. I think about standing in the water and feeling like I am part of something bigger than myself." The Queen came and sat next to Daniel on the edge of the bed. She did not sit like a queen. She sat like a person tired from a long day. She sat like someone who wanted to forget about being a queen for a while. "I have never left Verith Prime," she said. "I have never seen your oceans. I have never felt sand or cold water. All my life, I have been told I will rule this world. All my life, people have told me what I must do. When I am queen, I will make decisions for billions of people. I will marry a man chosen by the government. I will have children because it is expected. I will never choose anything for myself." "You still can," Daniel said. "You still have time before all of that happens." "No," the Queen said. "The bonding will happen soon. The man has already been chosen. He is a good man. He will be a good husband. But I will not choose him. Someone else chose him for me." They sat in silence for a while. Outside the window, the planet turned slowly. Stars moved across the sky. The silence was not uncomfortable. It was the kind of silence that comes when two people understand each other. "My people celebrate with music," the Queen said. "We have instruments that make sounds like nothing on your Earth. Would you like to hear it?" "Yes," Daniel said. The Queen touched a device on her wrist. Music came from the device. It was beautiful. It was like wind chimes mixed with voices singing. It was sad and happy at the same time. Daniel closed his eyes and listened. When the music ended, the Queen was looking at him. "I have broken 7 laws by being here with you alone," she said. "I have broken 15 more by not telling my guards where I am. I should go. I should never come back here. But in this moment, I do not want to be a queen. I do not want to follow laws. I want to be just a person talking to another person." "Then stay," Daniel said. "Just for tonight." Just for tonight. Just be a person. They talked until the morning light came through the window. They talked about worlds and oceans and music and dreams. The Queen told Daniel about her childhood. She told him about learning to rule. She told him about the weight of being responsible for billions of people. Daniel told her about Earth and his family and why he became a soldier. As the sun rose, the Queen's expression changed. She became sad. "I must go," she said. "My people will be looking for me soon. When I leave this room, I must be a queen again. I must pretend that this night never happened. I must marry the man they chose for me. But know this, Daniel Cross, in all my life, in all the responsibility and duty and power that comes with being a queen, you gave me one night where none of it mattered. You gave me one night where I was just myself. I will not forget this. I will remember you every day for the rest of my life." She stood up. She moved toward the door. Daniel wanted to ask her to stay. He wanted to tell her not to go. He wanted to do things that a commander should not do. But he knew she was right. She was a queen. He was a soldier. The rules of the galaxy did not allow people like them to be together. "I understand," Daniel said. "I will not tell anyone. Your secret is safe with me." The Queen put her hand on his face. Her skin was warm. Her touch was gentle. She looked into his eyes one more time. "Goodbye, Daniel Cross," she said. "I am sorry that you were born into a universe that will not let me stay." She turned and walked through the door. Daniel listened to her footsteps move down the corridor and fade away. Then he was alone again. He looked out at the planet and realized that everything had changed. He had changed. His life would never be the same. He did not know that he would disappear 5 years later. He did not know that he would spend those 5 years trying to forget her. He did not know that she would spend those 5 years trying to find him. All he knew in that moment was that he had found something real, and he was about to lose it forever. The negotiations between Earth and Vareth took 3 weeks to finish. Daniel watched from a distance as the Queen signed the documents. Her hand moved across the paper with perfect control. Her face showed no emotion. She looked like a machine that had been programmed to sign treaties. Daniel knew the truth. He knew that beneath that calm face, there was a person. He knew the person had given him one night of realness and truth. He knew that person was now trapped again, forced to be a queen instead of a woman. The Queen did not look at him during the signing. She did not look at him during the celebration dinner. She did not look at him when he said goodbye at the dock where her ship was waiting. But her guards saw him. They watched him with interest. They knew something had happened. Daniel could see it in their eyes. 2 weeks after the Queen left Vareth Prime, the news came through official channels. The announcement came on the video communication system. The Queen had bonded with Lord Keth. The bonding was successful. The union would bring peace and stability to Vareth. The human diplomat team was told to celebrate this good news. Daniel read the words 3 times. Then he read them again. Each time, they meant the same thing. She was married to someone else. She was no longer available. She was no longer free. She was a queen with a husband. She was someone's wife. He went to his commanding officer that same day. He wrote out his resignation. He did not explain why. He did not say anything about the Queen or the night in his quarters. He just wrote the words and signed his name. His officer tried to talk him out of it. The officer said Daniel had a great career ahead. The officer said Daniel was needed on Earth. The officer said the diplomatic mission was just beginning, and Daniel had a key role to play. Daniel did not argue. He just took his resignation papers and walked away. He left the space station. He left his position. He left everything behind. He took nothing but his personal belongings and a small amount of money. He booked passage on a merchant ship heading toward the outer colonies. The captain did not ask questions. He took payment and gave Daniel a small room in the lowest deck of the ship. The outer colonies were not places that appeared on official maps. They were settlements built on worlds that governments did not control. They were places where people went when they wanted to disappear. Daniel fit in perfectly. He worked as a guard for trading companies. He worked as a guide for exploration teams. He worked as a teacher, showing people how to survive on harsh worlds. He worked at night when he could not sleep. He worked during the day when the sun was too bright and made him think of Vareth Prime's orange sky. Years passed. On some worlds, ice covered everything. It was cold enough to freeze tears on a person's face. Daniel taught the people there how to build shelters and find heat sources under the ground. He stayed for a few months. Then he left. On another world, the land was all desert. Sandstorms came without warning. They could bury a settlement in minutes. Daniel helped the people build walls and dig deep shelters. He showed them how to find water under the sand. He stayed until the settlement was safe. Then he left. He moved from settlement to settlement like a ghost. People learned to recognize him. They learned that he brought help. They learned that he would work hard and expect nothing in return. They learned that he would disappear as soon as the danger passed. Some settlements tried to make him stay. They offered him jobs. They offered him homes. They offered him money and respect. Daniel turned down all of it. He could not stay anywhere. Staying in one place meant having time to think. Thinking meant remembering the Queen. 5 years after he left the space station, Daniel was older. His hair had started to turn gray. His hands were weathered from hard work. His face was darker from spending time in sun and alien worlds. He did not recognize himself anymore when he looked in a mirror. He had just arrived at Kepler Station when the message came through the settlement's communication system. A warlord was moving toward the station. He wanted to control the trade routes that passed through this area. He wanted to take over the settlement and the resources. The people at Kepler Station had no military. They had no weapons. They had no way to defend themselves. Daniel was having coffee in the settlement's dining area when the announcement came. He listened to the panic in people's voices. He heard them talking about leaving. He heard them talking about giving up. He set down his coffee and stood up. "I'll help," he said to no one and everyone. No one knew who he was, but they accepted his help anyway. That was how people were on the outer colonies. If you offered to help, they did not ask questions. For 3 days, Daniel worked. He looked at the settlement's location. He studied the land around it. He made plans. He showed the people where to place their best fighters. He showed them how to use the land as a weapon. He showed them that even without military power, they could hold their position. The warlord's forces attacked on the 4th day. It was a small attack. The warlord was testing the settlement's defenses. He was not expecting much resistance. He was planning to crush the settlement with a large attack the next day. But Daniel was ready. The fighters at Kepler Station held the positions Daniel had shown them. They used weapons that were not very good, but they used them in smart ways. They used the land. They used surprise. They used speed. The attack lasted 2 hours. When it was over, the warlord's forces had lost 20 fighters. The settlement had lost none. The warlord's commander sent a message. They would attack again tomorrow with more force. Daniel heard this news and felt something strange. It was not fear. It was not excitement. It was purpose. For 5 years, he had been running. For 5 years, he had been hiding. Now he had something to do. He had people to protect. He had a reason to exist. But as he stood on the wall of Kepler Station, looking out at the dark land, he thought about the Queen. He thought about how she was probably on Vareth Prime right now, sitting in her palace, doing her duty as a queen. He thought about how she had probably forgotten him by now. He did not know that she had not forgotten. He did not know that she had spent 5 years searching for him. He did not know that she was getting closer with every day that passed. And then, as Daniel was preparing the defenses for the next battle, the Queen's ship landed outside the settlement. She had found him at last. The alarm started at midnight. The warlord's forces were attacking Kepler Station. They came in vehicles that looked like metal insects. They came with weapons that made the ground shake. They came with anger and hunger for power and control. Daniel and Aris moved out of the storage room. They did not discuss what came next. They did not talk about choices or futures or what it meant that the Queen had traveled so far to find him. The settlement was under attack. Everything else would have to wait. Daniel moved toward the defensive position. Aris followed him. "You need to get to your ship," Daniel said. "Get back to Vareth. Go back to your kingdom. Forget you were ever here." "No," Aris said. "I did not travel 5 years and billions of miles to run away now." Daniel grabbed her arm. "You do not understand what is happening here. These people are not trained soldiers. They are settlers. The warlord's forces will kill everyone. I need to focus on protecting them. I cannot protect you at the same time." "Then do not," Aris said. Her voice was steady. Her eyes were calm. "I did not come here to be protected. I came here to be with you. And if I am with you, then I am where I need to be." Daniel wanted to argue. He wanted to order her to leave. But he knew she was right. She had not come this far to leave. She had made her choice. It was his turn to make his. "All right," he said. "Stay with me. But you follow my orders. When I tell you to move, you move. When I tell you to take cover, you take cover. Do you understand?" "I understand," Aris said. They ran toward the defensive position. The settlers at Kepler Station had built walls made of stone and metal. The walls were not very strong, but they were better than nothing. Behind the walls, people stood with weapons. The weapons were old and not very powerful, but they were all the settlers had. When the warlord's forces came into range, the settlers opened fire. The energy weapons from the warlord's vehicles shot back. Stone exploded. Metal bent and broke. A settler on the wall was hit and fell. He did not move again. Daniel had taken command without anyone asking him to. The settlers looked to him for orders. He told them where to aim. He told them when to shoot. He told them when to run for cover. But they did not have enough firepower. The warlord's forces were too strong. Then Aris moved forward. She walked out from behind the wall into the open ground. "Aris, get down!" Daniel shouted, but the Queen did not get down. She stood in the light. She stood in the open. And she did something that made the entire battle stop. She opened the communication channel. She spoke in her own language. The words were formal and powerful and full of authority. They were the words a queen uses when she is speaking to people who must listen. The warlord's forces stopped firing. Through the communication channel, a voice answered. A man's voice. The warlord's commander. "Queen Aris," the commander said in heavily accented English. "This is unexpected. I am here to tell you that this settlement is now under the protection of Vareth," Aris said. Her voice was calm and absolute. "If you fire on these people again, you will be firing on the Vareth government. You will be committing an act of war. And you will lose. The warlords." Commander was quiet for a long moment. "I did not know that the Queen of Vareth was interested in this small settlement," he said finally. "The Queen of Vareth is interested in this settlement," Aris said, "because it contains something valuable, something worth protecting, something worth dying for if necessary." She looked back at Daniel as she said these words. Daniel understood what she meant. She was talking about him. She was risking everything for him. She was telling the whole galaxy that he was worth it. The warlord's commander gave an order. The vehicles turned around. The forces withdrew. The attack was over. Kepler Station had survived. The people on the walls cheered. They looked at Iris like she was a god who had come down to save them. They did not understand what had really happened. They did not understand that a queen had abandoned her, thrown to find the man she loved. Daniel walked toward Iris. When he reached her, he took her hand. "You could have been killed," he said. "Yes," Iris said, "but I would not have left you again. I spent 5 years regretting that I left you the first time. I would not do it again. Your government will know what you did," Daniel said. "They will know you came here. They will know about us. There will be consequences." "I know," Iris said, "but I do not care. I do not care about the consequences anymore. I care about being happy. I care about being free. I care about being with you. That is all that matters now." They stood together in the light while the people of Kepler Station watched. They stood together as a human commander and an alien queen. They stood together as two people who had chosen each other over everything else. In the morning, the diplomatic ship landed at the settlement. Minister Voss came down from the ship. He looked at the Queen and Daniel standing together. He saw the way they looked at each other. He saw everything that he needed to see. "Your Majesty," he said with a bow, "I have been instructed to inform you that you are no longer the sole ruler of Vareth. The government has appointed a council in your absence. They are running the kingdom efficiently. They are waiting for your decision about when you will return." Iris looked at Minister Voss. She knew what he was telling her. The government had taken power from her. They had moved forward without her. She was no longer essential to Vareth. She was free. "I will not be returning immediately," Iris said. "I have decided to take a diplomatic position with the human outer colonies. Daniel Cross will be my advisor. We will work together to build stronger alliances between Vareth and humanity." "As you wish, Your Majesty," Minister Voss said. He smiled. It was a small smile, but it was there. He understood that sometimes the most important things in life were not written in treaties or laws. Sometimes the most important things in life were the choices that people made for themselves. Daniel and Iris moved to Kepler Station to stay. They worked together to help the settlement grow stronger. They worked together to build defenses and create trade routes and bring resources to the people who needed them. But more than that, they worked together to build a life. In the evening, they would stand on the wall and look out at the galaxy. They would talk about Earth's oceans and Vareth's crystal forests. They would talk about the future and what they wanted to build together. One night, Iris told Daniel something important. "When I was a queen sitting on my throne, I thought I had everything," she said. "Power, respect, responsibility. But I was empty inside. And then I came here, and I found you again. And I realized that everything I thought I wanted meant nothing without someone to share it with. I could not live without you," Daniel said. "I tried for 5 years. I tried to forget you. I tried to build a new life. But I was just going through the motions. I was not really living. I was just waiting for the moment when I would see you again. And now that you are here, I did not want to waste any more time." They did not know what the future held. They did not know if the Vareth government would accept their choices. They did not know if the human governments would approve of their partnership. They did not know what challenges would come, but they knew one thing for certain. They had found each other. They had chosen each other, and they were not going to let anything pull them apart again. The galaxy was vast and cold and full of danger. But in this small corner of space, on a settlement on an alien world, two people from different species had found something real. They had found love. They had found home. They had found each other, and that was enough to face anything that came next.